This demonstration covers the editing of a Schematron schema using oXygen XML editor's content completion assistant and predefined code templates. Due to its complex processing engine, oXygen is the only XML editor that offers an error management mechanism capable of pinpointing errors in XPath expressions. This feature, coupled with the ability of finding errors in the included schema modules, makes oXygen the best choice for Schematron development. In our demonstration, we need a Schematron schema, which checks a number of rules for a DocBook document. These rules can be classified as critical requirement rules. The number of words from an abstract element should be between 1 and 100, and the number of items in a list should be between 2 and 10. And best practices rules. The number of words from an abstract element should be between 3 and 80, and the number of items from a list should be between 3 and 8. Now we'll create a new Schematron schema. We use the new action available on the toolbar and look for the Schematron document template. Then save it. Next, we'll add a Schematron pattern to enforce the following rule. The number of words from an abstract element should be between 1 and 100. We invoke the content completion assistant and insert the pattern element. Now, we type the ID value. Inside the pattern element, we add a rule element. The context attribute allows us to specify where the rules becomes active. In our case, it's the abstract element. And if the condition fails, this is considered an error. Next, we'll define a variable that counts the number of words from an abstract element. Its name is word number. oXygen assists us to define the XPath expression by offering the XPath functions as proposals. Also, to improve the readability of the document, the XPath expressions are highlighted with different colors. Finally, the assertion is made using the assert element. When writing the XPath expression in test attribute, note that the content completion assistant proposes also the already declared variable. We check that the number of words is greater than or equals to 1 and less than or equals to 100. If the condition fails, oXygen will display this message. The second critical rule to be added is the number of items from a list should be between 2 and 10. In this case, we'll add a new pattern using the code templates support. To see all Schematron code templates, press the Ctrl and space keys. In our case, we choose the template that adds a pattern with an assert. We name the pattern critical checklist element. The rule is active for order list or itemized list elements, and if the condition fails, this is considered an error. Now we define a variable which counts the number of list item elements. The assert specifies that the number of list items in the itemized list element should be between 2 and 10. In a similar way, we add the patterns for the best practices rules. An important Schematron feature is the progressive validation, or the validation of constraints in stages, rather than validating everything at once. This feature is accomplished through the phase element, which allows us to group more patterns. In our case, we need to define two phases, one for each group of rules, critical and best practices. First, we create a phase for the critical rules with the help of code templates. We'll name it phase critical, then add the two critical rule patterns. Note that the defined pattern names are proposed when editing the value of the pattern attribute. Similarly, we defined a second phase for the best practices rules, named phase best practices. We add the two best practices rule patterns. Now we'll see how oXygen helps you to manage the validation errors. To see this, we can modify the document by referring an XPath function that is not defined. We intentionally modify the name of the count XPath function. As you can see, the error is highlighted as soon as we modify the document because it is being continuously validated. We revert to the initial function name, and now oXygen reports that the schema is valid. At the end of this demonstration, we'll validate the XML document against the Schematron schema we just created. We choose Validate With from the application toolbar and choose DocBook Rules. oXygen already analyzed the schema and allows us to choose from the phases declared in the Schematron document. We choose to apply only the best practices phase. oXygen displays a message in the results view which warns us that the XML sample file contains too many list items and one of the best practices rules is broken. To correct the problem, we delete one of the list items and validate again. This time, the document conforms with the defined rules. And this concludes our demonstration. For more details about the Schematron support in oXygen XML, make sure you check the related Schematron video demonstrations. Thanks for watching.